But who is she?
Hello, I've got a double feature for you today. Since the party reached level 4 early into session 25 and spent about 1/3 of the session leveling up, not a whole lot happened in that session. So I'm going to wrap session 24 and session 25 into one diary. Welcome to the campaign diary for the Abomination Vaults. You'll probably notice that there is a weird little orc guy joining our hero lineup today, and that is because we have a new player joining the campaign. Since the unfortunate cancellation of Crown of the Kobold King, Trout's player from that series will be joining the main series of Abomination Vaults, so please give him a warm welcome. While we're on the subject of players, you'll notice Sesto is absent a lot in the coming weeks and months due to his work schedule, so expect him to show up when he can, but disappear when he can't. I am also slightly sick, so please forgive the droning of my ill voice. Let's get into it. When we left off, after several days in town, waiting for the Korlok contract timer to run out, Milo's home had been broken into. Since May had been keeping watch, she noticed the attacker before they could reach Milo, their target. During a short scuffle, May disarmed the intruder, but she was cut in the process, and this was no ordinary knife. As the intruder was identified as Brelda Venkavale and restrained, May collapsed, losing consciousness. She felt her mind suddenly drop, falling at incredible speed through the earth. And after a few long, terrifying moments in which she could no longer feel her body, she impacted a surface. Looking around, she found herself, her soul at least, in a small, featureless room. The floor was wet and sticky with a few centimeters of blood, and it seemed to be constantly running down the walls. May herself stood naked with no armor, no weapons, no equipment of any kind. Across the room, in the far wall, there was a small metal grate, and through that grate, staring back at her, was the devil Korlok. He looks at you with a confused expression, and then as he recognizes you, you see him pull this look of annoyance. Fucking dumb bitch stabbed the wrong person. Still, a soul is a soul. And you watch as he teleports into the room. Her companions, still conscious and panicking, watched as Milo's mother dragged Brelda away. Ornifex, a follower of the Cosmic Caravan, but for story reasons sanctified wholly by Pelora specifically, felt a comforting presence and heard Pelora's voice in her head. Her soul's been taken by infernal magic. Pull her back, I'll teach you how. At the same moment, a recent arrival in town was passing by the house. As a champion of Serenray, he too heard a divine voice pierce his mind. A chance for redemption has appeared. Enter that home. Use your connection to the holy to save a soul. It will set into motion the events that will cleanse your tarnished spirit. Allow me to introduce Gorgon, the Orc champion of Serenray. Gorgon is not a native to Atari, but he did live here for a short amount of time years ago, before being arrested and shipped off to Absalom for 5 years. Now he's back with the goal of making amends. You'll notice his Fugi is not to the same standard as the others. That is because I had to quickly make one ready for the session, but it will suddenly improve between sessions 24 and 25. Following the advice of his god, Gorgon approached and knocked on the door. There was no answer, but he could hear the panic within. Worried for those inside, he opened the door and witnessed the scene within.
Well, hello there. A goddess told me you might use a hand, and well, who am I to refuse?
Okay, would you like to describe what the people inside the house are seeing?
The man meeting you entering the room has a face you would never recognize in a crowd, except for a horseshoe mustache, which is certainly odd for an orc. A lanky build, and clad in an armor that is truly mismatched. Every step he takes, you can hear the light clanking of the armor.
Milo, having grown up in Atari, did recognize Gorgon, although he knew him as a criminal that was arrested a long time ago, not a holy man. As such, there was some hesitation in accepting his help, but due to the situation, the group couldn't really refuse. Gorgon dropped down next to May and, with his god's guidance, joined Ornifex in ritual prayer. So, here's how the encounter worked. May, whose soul was trapped in an infernal prison, had to face a mildly nerfed Korlok. Lower AC, slightly weaker weapon damage, etc. At the start of each round, Ornifex and Gorgon would make a DC 18 religion check. On a success, they would get 1 faith point. On a crit, they'd get 2, and on a crit fail, they'd lose a faith point. Once they reached an undisclosed amount of faith points, they'd be able to save May's soul and return her to her body. However, they could also spend points to either heal her 1d8 plus 8, or to give her a temporary striking rune until the end of her turn. So the challenge comes from not knowing how many faith points they needed to store up, or whether they should expend them to help May survive and fight. For your sake as a viewer, they needed to store up 6 faith points to save May. Now, since his target was actually Milo, the fact that May was the one who got stabbed and that May's a monk changed everything. You might be thinking that if Milo had gotten stabbed and sent down to face Korlok in a 1v1 with no equipment, that would have been a total death sentence, and, well, yeah, that was kind of the point. The party had ample time during their downtime to take precautions, investigate threats. If things were allowed to progress to the point where Milo actually did get stabbed by this blade, it would essentially be his final consequence. However, the party did take precautions, and instead, May was the one in this position. And that kind of flipped the encounter on its head, because while Milo would have been facing an execution with extra steps, May actually kind of had a chance. As the fighting kicked off, the party immediately realized, even without his glaive, Korlok was a deadly threat. He wasted no time in dealing large chunks of damage to May, and those performing the religious ritual felt that they had no choice but to expend all the accumulated faith points healing her. May fought back well, slowly chipping away his health, but due to his resistances, progress was very slow. As May's health dipped and peaked with the help of faith points, it wasn't until the 6th round of combat that May was given a striking rune. The reason for this was that Ornifex and Gorgon were desperately trying to compile the faith points they needed to save her, but so far the healing had been so regularly required that they'd been spamming everything they'd earned to keep her alive. By this 6th round, the highest they'd collected was only 3 faith points. Because of this, they changed strategies. The fight hadn't exactly been designed to be winnable, it was just about stalling until the victim could be pulled out. But May was a monk, and that changed things. The ritual casters placed their bets on May and began to put all their faith points into healing and striking runes, abandoning the idea of saving her. During her first turn with a striking rune, she dealt a much more substantial hit than she'd been able to achieve so far, and finally brought him below half his max hit points. On her next turn with a striking rune, Korlok grew frustrated and desperate. This was supposed to have been a dramatic slaughter of Milo, but May had put up way more of a fight than he'd ever been expecting. He rushed her and tried to slam her into the ground, but a critical failure on his trip check left Korlok on his back instead. Knowing how much damage he could put out, and trying to make her back away, he stayed down and attacked instead. As he'd hoped, a critical hit smashed through May's health and left her very close to death. May was left with only 6 hit points, and the ritual wouldn't come into effect until after her turn, so she couldn't rely on any healing. Rather than stepping away, May committed to going all in while she had the striking rune. May stepped over his prone body and began a flurry of blows.
Okay. Please, for the ball that's good.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Kill him.
Oh my god!
Fuck. You smash the back of your heel onto the back of his head and slam his head into the blood, and you hear the room crack. And as he pulls up his face out of the blood, you can see his nose is cracked, his jaw is cracked, one of his horns is badly chipped, and he suddenly has this look of desperation and panic. Her flurry wasn't done though.
Oh my god. Okay, right. So, right. Because I know this is probably going to kill him. But so when he stabs me in the foot, I want to stab me, jump up in the air, like a scissor kick.
Yeah.
So the first one I'd be slam down on his head and then kick my other leg straight up and then just slam my heel back into his face. And this has force, so
Fucking hell. Yeah, you take your foot or your heel out of his head, raise it back up again, leaping into the air and bring it down with such force that you see the back of his head just fully cave in and split apart. And because he's in hell, he's dead.
Yes! You fuck yes!
In one of the worst miscalculations by a devil in recent memory, Korlok had been killed in his own ambush. By the sheer accident of taking the stab wound meant for Milo, May had permanently killed the devil Korlok. Moments after the death, May's spirit was pulled back into her body where she awoke, exhausted and disorientated.
Where is he?
Where's who?
Korlok, he was just here.
Here? No, you just collapsed. What happened to you? What did you see?
It was just blood everywhere. He said she got the wrong one. Milo, I think he was trying to take you. I think it was hell.
You were in hell? Being held?
I mean, I didn't get a sightseeing tour, but I think so.
And
But-
Korlok was there? What happened? You're here?
I think he tried to kill me, but you said I was here? How could I be here and there? And who's this green guy?
This is Gorgon. Don't worry about it.
He's nice. He helped you to get you back.
He's a criminal, though. But yeah,
As all of this conversation is going on, Corgan is still staring at his hands, not really believing that he was able to take part in this, until he bursts out, "Well, bother my tusks! I didn't know I had this in me. Welcome back, little lady."
Thanks,
Yeah.
I guess.
but wait. What happened to Korlok?
I think he's dead. I mean, what happens to a devil if it dies in hell? There's nowhere else for it to go, right? It's gone.
I think so.
Yes, if you kill them in their domain, it should be fine.
Wait, so let me get this straight. You got stabbed, and that stab triggered some kind of fuckery that made you astrally project down to hell, face off against Korlok in literally a blood pit, and you just smash his face.
Well, something was keeping me alive. I'm guessing that was you two?
It wasn't me, that's for sure.
I mean, it wasn't us alone. We had some higher up help. But I also see you're really wounded, and I will just go on and start treating your wounds.
Eventually, as the party reveled about the near miracle that had just occurred, their attention eventually turned to Brelda. Esther had dragged Brelda away into the living room and had been screaming at her, but the shouting had calmed. Ornifex began to inspect the knife. It was a simple design, but it had infernal runes carved into the blade. She wrapped it up and put it away to take to Rin at a later time.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've got some very important questions for that bitch in the other room.
Yeah, but if we're going to talk to her, I think we should go kind of easy on her. I know she stabbed you, I know she brought you to hell, but she's, you know what the book said? They'll use the most vulnerable of people. And then when I say vulnerable, I think they mean like mentally.
Look, I personally couldn't give a rat's ass that she stabbed me, that I went to hell. I just think, what kind of decent human being would trade another human being's soul to get their child back? I assume that's what this is for. That's what's pissed me off.
Our heroes cautiously made their way into the room where Breld was sat, sobbing into her hands. Milo was the one to approach her.
Nobody died, Brelda. You haven't killed anyone.
She slowly looks up towards you. I'm sorry.
I know. Can you please tell us why? I think I know, but still.
He said it'd bring him back. If I just had to cut you, I didn't need to kill you, I just had to cut you with the knife.
I wouldn't tell you the whole story. They never do. Trust me, I know at this point. How did you get the knife?
He told me where to find it. It was in a box by the river on the northern side of town. This knife actually has a whole plot around its creation. If our heroes had decided to look into it further, they'd have potentially discovered other townsfolk that had been approached by Korlok. As it stands, despite showing an interest in the knife, they haven't investigated its creation at all. So, viewers, allow me to fill you in. On the first day of his return to Hell, Korlok approached Carmen Reggiani. Carmen is an easy target as he's morally bankrupt already and has a clear exploitable desire for his family sword. Carmen's role was to craft the knife and carve the infernal runes into it. He needed to then anonymously post it through the letterbox to Odd Stories. His reward? If Milo was stabbed by the completed blade, he'd get the sword. The next person took more convincing. Morlabint is Milo's friend and a morally good person. As such, Korlok didn't tell Morlabint who the target would be, knowing that if he learned it was Milo, he would refuse. His task was to cast the enchantment on the blade. This took several days, hence the lack of immediate action during the downtime week. After its completion, he placed it in a small box and hid it at a location Korlok described. His reward would be a biological child of his and his husband's blood. Then, Breld was told where to get the knife and who to cut with it. Korlok was very clear that she didn't need to kill Milo, only cut him. that would be enough for her to get her son back. Our heroes could have found the box, which would have led back to odd stories. If they'd made a successful crafting check on the blade, they could have learnt that it was freshly made in the smithing style common to the Isle of Kortos. But they didn't do any of that, so the other participants are looking like they're going to get away scot-free. They did begin thinking along the right tracks, but they never went any further than just theorizing.
Maybe that's why it took him so long. He had to manipulate other people to get that into place. Did it look like it had been there for a long time?
No, it was a clean box, and the grass and things it was still fresh.
Co-conspirators then, probably. Did you learn anything about your son?
He just told me he'd give him back.
Give him back, not resurrect him.
He didn't specify.
Okay,
There's still a chance.
maybe, but if devils have him, I'll look to the others. What should we do with her?
Well, much like a merman out of water, I may not know what's going on and I may not know what to do, but she seems nice enough.
She is.
But I do think she needs help. She can't be grieving like this.
No.
There was some discussion about whether she should be arrested, but they decided to take pity on her and let her go under the condition that she goes to the clerics of the Dawnflower Library and allows them to help her with her grief. For the rest of the night, they stood guard over her, and nobody got much rest. Gorgon asked to join them, mostly to keep a supportive eye on Brelda, as he didn't want her to be judged too harshly. Once morning came, noticing that Brelda seems to have gotten no sleep, Gorgon approached her alone.
Hey there. There's nothing to worry about. No one died. We all make mistakes.
How could I have thought to do that? My best
Well-
friend's son, why would I think that it's okay to swap their son for mine? To give her that loss?
Well, sometimes we want what we can't have or simply what the heart yearns for. It's understandable. Don't you worry about it. No one got hurt. You just got overwhelmed.
She looks up at you and you see like a look of like familiarity. Oh, Gorgon, when did you get back into town?
Oh, not long ago. I had to spend some time behind bars.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your kind words.
No problem. It's gonna be okay. I promise you. And, well, I won't say this too loudly, but if there's any way I can bring your son back to light, I shall, but only through the light. See, I have a list now. And Gorgon will add this to his list.
Ooh.
Okay. Unfortunately, I kind of killed Lasda Venkavale off during the first Dead Tide, so that I could replace him with Lily from Rock's backstory, so the chance of bringing him back alive has kind of passed. He could return the body, though, if the group finds it. Once the kind and gentle Gorgon moved away, May, in a less pleasant mood, approached Brelda.
Yeah, the minute he's gone, I'm gonna walk straight over and just sit in front. Is she sitting on the floor?
No, she's in like a little armchair.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna find a lightweight chair and drag it over. Do you like that awful screeching noise it makes?
Interrogation mode.
Yes.
Are you gonna sit with the back
Yes,
facing
no,
her
I
too?
am. Yeah.
Arms on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
Bad cop
drag.
engaged.
Yeah, I'm gonna drag this chair over, kind of stand up, towering over her, put one leg either side, you know, loop my arms around, just look at her, just stare for a little bit.
She makes eye contact for like a second and then looks down, and you see her start to like sweat the longer it goes on for.
Right, I'm gonna be frank. I'm gonna be honest, and I hope you can be too. Can we do that? Can we be honest with each other?
She nods.
Right. We know the situation, yeah? You know what I am, right?
She nods.
And I know what you did and what you did it for. Yeah?
She nods.
I don't blame you at all. I really don't. Do you understand that? Yeah? I'm trying to, like, you know, duck down and catch her eye.
She nods again.
But that could have been bad. It could have been really bad. And if I wasn't who I was and what I am, Milo would be dead by now. You understand that, right?
You see like tears begin to well up in her eyes again. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Sorry doesn't make it better. What does make it better is changing. You made a mistake, didn't you? And what is a mistake but a chance to learn? But now it's your responsibility to learn from this.
Okay, I will.
But I really want to see you try. I'm willing to give you that chance because, you know, we do make mistakes. Mistakes are how we change, how we grow. But I'm telling you this not to scare you or to intimidate you. But if I see you even do an inkling of something that's going to hurt my friends, the people I care about, I will have to stop it. Just so we're clear. Well, now that's out of the way. Have you eaten?
This adventure has certainly forced a change in May's personality. The household ate breakfast, although Esther refused to eat in the same room as Brelda, and then the group took her to the Dawnflower Library. After explaining the situation, Ornifex handed Brelda off to Vandy, who both promised to keep her safe and also to help her process her grief. Next, they discussed what to do with the knife.
Should we dip it in holy water and see what happens?
I don't think we should be doing that without permission, though.
I mean, I have my own holy water.
Oh, we should go somewhere not as lively at this then.
Okay, yeah,
It seems like a waste of holy water, right? Why don't we just take it into the woods and bury it?
I guess. But like, that's how it was found. Like, it somehow ended up in a box at the riverside, which she got. Like, that's how they work. Mysterious ways, holistic links, a weave, a web of conspiracy. Like, if we bury that in the forest, I bet by tomorrow it will be gone and in the hands of some traveler who will pass it off to someone else or put it somewhere else, and it'll end up bringing someone down to the hells at some point. We need to find a way to destroy it, I think.
Why don't we take it to Rin? I'm sure she probably
Yeah.
has an idea.
Oh, yes.
We should do that.
Gorgon
Also,
breaks in. Who's Rin?
she's very knowledgeable about all little things, I would say. Everything that is magic, she probably has an idea about.
Yeah, she's almost suspiciously knowledgeable about everything.
I mean,
Hmm.
like a certain someone looking over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't made the best decisions, have I?
Oh. Actually, yeah, we should go see Rin. I think she's got a
Oh no!
few
Actually,
choice words to say to you,
I
Milo.
don't want to see Rin. I just remembered I have
Oh
business.
no, I think this is a really good idea. Gorgon, you should come and see this too. It's a good way to meet Rin for the first time.
And so they went to visit Rin.
Oh, Rin, there's someone here who wants to see you. And I'm going to shove you through the curtains.
As you stumble in, Rin turns and she has like quite a happy face on, and then when she sees you, her face drops into like serious expression.
Oh, hi, Rin.
Oh, hi, Rin. Really?
Um, you were probably right. I fucked up. I fucked up big time.
Yes.
Really big. I have learned my lesson though.
Have you? What
I
lesson have you learned?
yes. I should not make any deals with any devils, because even if I only put my own soul on the line, that's not actually true. I risk everyone around me. So, I won't do it again. Ever.
Well, I think you've gotten extremely lucky in this situation.
Yeah. Let me tell you what happened last night.
Oh, a new chapter in the
Yes.
saga.
Yes, a new chapter in the saga.
Oh, just
Hopefully, a closing chapter. It's a pretty good climax.
A closing chapter. Okay, so you have no more deals running.
I mean, we do,
Okay,
but...
so shut the fuck up and tell me what happened.
Okay, so...
Oh, Rin, you're going to love this. It makes me really cool.
Yeah, actually. So, everyone was protecting me at home because, you know, we knew that something was probably going to happen. Korlok, our mortal foe, he was going to come after me. And, well, he did. Brelda was manipulated into attacking me in my home with a special knife, we suspect. But May took the blow for me, as she usually does. And as such, her spirit, her soul, was brought down into the hells to face Korlok in a death battle, which she won. She defeated a devil in the hells on her own, with just her will and her strength, and I don't know, it must have been an amazing sight. But we didn't get to see it, because to us, she was just on the ground.
I'm sorry, I'd like to reiterate I was not by myself. Ornifex and this gentleman here, they were also
yeah.
responsible for keeping me alive. Without them, I would absolutely be dead. But, ta-da, we did it. Problem
Yeah.
solved.
Devil dead. That's like a net positive outcome for the world, right?
She seems almost like angry in her expression. So not only have you put May in a position, my dear friend, in a position where she could have been killed and had her own soul taken instead of yours, you've also roped poor Brelda into this, a mourning mother who lost her son.
Yes.
And you're celebrating.
I'm not celebrating. It's coping, actually. That's why I know that I fucked up, and I will never do it again. I've seen what it does now. It's not good. I will make it up to them, some way.
I see. And what of your other deal? What are you going to do about that one?
I don't know. Cross that bridge when we get there, I guess.
Well, I assume you didn't come to just tell me about your fantastic night, so...
Actually, did we have anything else? I think that was actually it.
No, we. Oh my god, Milo. We. After the attack, the knife brother stabbed Milo.
Oh, right,
Still
yeah.
on the floor. I can't really make out what to do with the knife. Do you have any way of making it or storing it in a way it could not do any more harm? And I will show her the knife.
Rin looked at the knife and determined that whatever its purpose, the magic had been expended. As it was right now, it was just a simple blade. She explained that whatever magic it had was gone, so unless it was re-enchanted, it was pretty harmless. Well, as harmless as a knife could be. She suggested melting it down while they could. They didn't do that. What they did do was buy May a striking rune, as she had gotten very fond of the damage during the Korlok fight. With no reason to hide in town anymore, our heroes invited Gorgon to join them in exploring the Gauntlet. His clear connection to a deity and his apparent skill in combat made him a great ally for the group. They headed up explaining everything that had happened so far. Eventually, they found themselves in the main library again, where they began exploring some of the untouched rooms. They started with the repair room. Shelves on the wall here contain iron sorting racks, jars, and all manner of bookbinding tools. Within, they found a couple of unidentified scrolls, which Milo eagerly carried off to the reading room to begin identifying. As that takes 10 minutes, the others moved into the librarian's workroom. This door was locked, however, Gorgon has a seemingly suspect past and picked the lock. Not very champion of you there, Gorgon. 3 work tables line the walls of this room, with a single stool near one of the tables. A skeleton wearing light blue librarian's robes lies in a heap beside the stool. Immediately, they could see a female ghost floating in the center of the room. Jarell was once the librarian of the library, but as the others turned to cannibalism and ghouldom, she quietly locked herself in the door, drank some arsenic, and passed away in tremendous pain, only to soon rise as a ghost. Jarell was not immediately hostile, instead eyeing the intruders with suspicion. Since she'd been locked in this room for hundreds of years, I decided to roleplay her as not quite knowing what had happened in the wider dungeon. Can I help you?
Ah, yes, I'm Gorgon the Word Putter. I'm here with my friends. As I understand it, we're looking to save the town.
I see. What town?
Oh, the one above Otari, of course.
There is no such town.
I suspect we may not be from the same time.
Yes, you do seem confused.
Well, yeah, I'm always confused, but may we enter?
Are they still eating each other out there?
Well, I had a cellmate that tried that, but he gave it up for Serenade.
By
The-
eating each other, do you mean the ghouls that were living here?
Oh, I'm sure they did become ghouls.
Well, we dealt with them. They're gone.
I see. Yes, you may enter.
Thank you, kind lady.
As they moved into the room, our heroes quickly noticed that Jarell seemed to draw into her body and her tools. She went through the motions of book repair, but seemed unable to interact with any of the equipment.
So, what happened to them?
Ooh.
Them, I'm gonna point to the dead body.
She, scowls at you. I just want my things.
What things are those?
My equipment. I can't work without my equipment.
What do you need to work on?
The books need mending.
Oh, are you a librarian?
Yes, I'm the librarian here.
I see. Well, we've got someone in our party that really likes books too. Maybe he knows what equipment you need.
I know what equipment I need.
Okay, well, I mean, do you know where it is?
It's on my body.
And I'm guessing this is you, right?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't have much experience with ghosts, but is there any way for me to give this to you or not?
I don't know.
Please excuse my companion. She means no ill will. Could I get the honor of helping you?
I need my things.
Certainly.
Gorgon carefully and respectfully took the items off the corpse and tried to give them to Jarell. Unfortunately, as he tried to place them in her hands, they fell through her incorporeal form and clattered across the ground. The ghost flared in anger for a moment, but soon calmed. In a strange reset of her consciousness, Jarell turned around and began going through the actions of book repair again unable to actually interact with the items.
It seems like you're doing a fantastic job. What kind of book are you working on?
She pauses and looks at you, and you see like this look of surprise, as though she wasn't aware you were there. And she reaches down and tries to flip the page to see what the book is, but her hand goes through the table a few times, and she sort of angrily again starts to flare up.
Can I try to use stealth here to flip the book? Like I'm leaning against the desk, just flipping with my finger behind my back.
Sure, yeah. You manage to flick the thing, and it flips to show a pretty standard sort of occultish tome about like the various methods to stop skeletons from breaking down due to age and decay. This one.
Oh, that's very interesting. Have you worked long here?
Yes, a long time.
Ah, impressive. I can't say I'm much of a reader, but is there anything interesting you've been working on?
She sort of looks across the desks with a look of confusion. I don't know. You see the energy begin to flare up. She'll look at you and analyze you, and you see her sort of trace her eyes along your arms and the fact that you're like touching things. Make a will save. Jarell, noticing Gorgon's ability to actually interact and touch the items, moved into his body and possessed him. He felt a pull towards the books, and allowing her control, he moved towards the desk and began working on the book. I allowed him to make a crafting check with a +5 circumstance bonus. Unfortunately, he rolled very poorly. Disgusted at the body she had possessed and his lack of skill, she expelled herself from him and in a fit of rage attacked. That was the end of session 24, but not the end of the video, as we're about to go right into session 25. Before we do that though, I just want to quickly talk about the session. I think the Korlok encounter went remarkably well. May taking the knife wound and getting sent to the trap completely changed the dynamic and resulted in a really cool and impressive moment for the character. It also proved to be an excellent moment to introduce Gorgon. Adding new characters into an ongoing campaign can be a bit of a challenge, but by having him jump straight into the ritual, it allowed him to show his value and build rapport with our group right away. Instead of that awkward meeting phase, he instantly became a viable asset to our group. And on the topic of Gorgon, let's swap out my shitty art for his real Fugi. Much better. By the way, all the Fugis are the work of Enava on Ko-Fi. She's also Ornifex's player and did the art for Ornifex and May. If you want to see more of her work or commission her yourself, there is a link in the description. Alright, session 25. Jumping right back in, Jarell attacked in frustration. She used Poison Breath to soak May and Ornifex in poisonous gas. After dodging a few attacks from our heroes, she moved in to possess the target that she read as the most dangerous, that being May. The possession wasn't total though. At the start of each of May's turns, she needed to make a will save to see if she or Jarell was in control. Usually though, the ghost proved stronger. Milo heard the fighting and abandoned his identification to join the battle. Unsure what to do, Ornifex and May, who was in control at the time, began making recall knowledge checks to figure out how to get somebody free of possession. In a truly unfortunate moment, both of them critically failed their checks and as such got the false information that beating yourself unconscious aggressively repels the possession creature, which is not quite correct. So, on May's turn, she began to hit herself and encouraged the others to hit her too. Little did they know that this actually does do a little bit of damage to Jarell, as she takes half the damage that May does. The downside to this plan though was that May was by far the group's heaviest hitter, and losing her would make taking down the ghost very difficult. Jarell also wasn't going to take this without a fight. On May's next turn, the ghost overpowered her, and with May's body, she lashed out at the group, damaging Ornifex and Milo. The group tried to bring down May, but it turns out May is quite hard to deal with for her allies. They did chip away at her slowly, and lightly damaged Jarell in the process. The striking rune May had purchased recently only compounded their issues, and as Jarell took over again, she beat Milo and Ornifex within an inch of their lives. I decided that Jarell couldn't leave the room she died in, however, while in a possessed body, it felt fun to let her bypass that rule. May tumbled through Milo, exiting the room and blocking the doorway. She was pretty wounded though, and as the rest of the party went into action, Gorgon and Milo managed to bring her down. Unlike what they were expecting though, the ghost didn't immediately pop out. Instead, it waited for May's turn, then abandoned the body. Then. No longer protected by a possessed host, Jarell was magically pulled back into the room, despite her clawing attempts to remain in the hallway. Enraged, she hit the entire group with another poison breath, which brought down Ornifex and Milo. This left Gorgon in a one-on-one fight against the ghost. While Jarell did look injured, he wasn't going to risk fighting alone. He gave a potion to Ornifex, who from the ground hit everybody with a 3-action heal spell. This damaged the ghost while also reviving May and Milo. May, seeking a quick revenge, stood up and in a flurry of attacks destroyed the ghost. Temporarily. Unless the group learn what's keeping her here, she will manifest again. But this was enough to hit level 4 and our group asked to level up straight away, which I was happy for them to do. It did take a rather large portion of our session though, which is why this session is tacked on at the end here. To keep you in the loop, Milo took another feat in the Mage's Dedication with the basic martial magic Razor Tome feat and the Unmistakable Lore skill feat. Ornifex took Divine Infusion and the Continual Recovery skill feat. May took Flurry of Maneuvers, although I think she might regret that choice due to not having enough non-multi-attack penalty options to fill her turns. And she took the Lead Climber skill feat. And Gorgon, who is the Redemption Champion, picked up the Ghost Hunter dedication under the promise that he will learn it from Rain in-game when possible. Once they were ready, they identified one of the scrolls as a Scroll of Mending and the mysterious eyepiece as a Crafter's Eyepiece. Then they moved on. They briefly checked out the small closet of firefighting equipment and grabbed the wand within, not identifying it yet. And then they entered Scrivener's workshop. Ala Rosk, the ghoul tattooist, was extremely aggressive and attacked on sight. This fight, while never particularly life-threatening, did reveal some areas of weakness in the party, as well as a few new strengths. May immediately regretted her leveling choice, as she tried to merge a trip and a strike into her flurry, but failed on repeat. The other option she'd wanted was Stand Still, and this ghoul was jumping all around the room, which only compiled her uncertainty. During the battle, Ornifex became infected with ghoul fever, which will now need to be dealt with at a later time. Gorgon certainly proves his worth by regularly using his champion's reaction to force Enfeeble 2 onto the ghoul, although this did make him a target and he ended up paralyzed after Allah turned his attention to him. Still, eventually Gorgon broke free and got a heal spell from Ornifex, which added the holy damage to his strike, and with that power, cut down this evil ghoul. And after the battle, we ended the session. So that's it for this diary. Gorgon has already proven himself to be a valuable ally to our heroes, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table in terms of role-playing, as Gorgon has a very different vibe than our other heroes. Even as he killed Allah, he was very regretful about it. Now that they're level 4 and have a striking rune in the group, this floor should run smoothly for them. There's still a lot of exciting things to discover on this floor though. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with the series. There's a link to my Discord and my Blue Sky in the description, so follow me there if you want to keep up to date with me more. And if you want to commission Anava, you can find her link below too. That's it for today. Have a great day. I shall see you soon. Bye-bye.